Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the African Independent Television, and welcome to your program. Today, my name still remains Patrick Abambo. It's not changing, not now. We on this program will bring you that information you need to keep your lives safe and secured. Today's episode, we're going to continue from where we stopped last week, looking at security in Nigeria, what is wrong. Well, this time around, we're going to be looking at solutions because last week our two expert guests were able to exhaust the challenges and the situations that is confronting Nigeria. Today we'll be looking at how best to take care of these challenges. I have my guests already waiting for us to commence the discussion. Yes, Dennis Amakre, the former director, Department of State Security. He'll be joining us shortly after these news reports from the Nigerian Army put together by Elizabeth Tanko.
In keeping with the principle of equality, transparency, and sound administration, which forms the pillar of his command philosophy, the Chief of Army Staff, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, made a significant and novel appointment of the first female director, Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Onyinyechi Apollonia Anele. During the week, the newly appointed acting director formally took over office from her predecessor, Major General Onyema Wanchuku. The former director thanked the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, and other past chiefs of army staff for finding him worthy to head the department.
Those who supported me in the directorates, both uniformed and civilians alike, I'm deeply grateful for your dedication and loyalty. Your commitment was your commitment was the wind beneath my wings. Together, we laid the bricks for a solid institutional legacy. I must also extend my heartfelt appreciation to all the former chiefs of army staff and the incumbent chief of army staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, Nigerian Army Medal, with whom I was privileged to serve, for their trust, guidance, and unflinching support. Your vision for a professionally responsive Nigerian Army inspired us to reach beyond the ordinary and to leave no stone unturned in projecting the values, operations, and triumphs of our beloved Army.
He spoke on some transformative projects of the Nigerian Army's DAPR under his leadership.
One of the major milestones was the retooling of the directorate with cutting-edge multimedia equipment, positioning us to respond swiftly and professionally to both operational and non-operational media engagements. I ensured the acquisition of modern cameras, editing suites, audiovisual systems, and digital communication tools necessary to thrive in the fast-paced global media space. Going further, I also recognized the centrality of human capital development. To that end, I facilitated specialized local and international training for our officers and soldiers, exposing them to global best practices in strategic communication, crisis messaging, digital warfare, and media analytics. This has undoubtedly transformed the way we tell the Nigerian Army story, credibly and authoritatively. The establishment of a fully functional strategic communication center stands today as a testament to our resolve to institutionalize deliberate and well-coordinated messaging. This center has become the nerve hub for synchronized communication efforts across our formations and units.
While delivering her first address as Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Anele expressed gratitude to God and the Chief of Army Staff for her appointment.
I sit before you here today with a deep sense of honor and humility and gratitude to God Almighty as I assume office as the Acting Director of Army Public Relations, Nigerian Army. It is a moment I do not take lightly, not only because of the enormous responsibilities that come with the office, but also because of the expectations and most importantly, the historic significance of my appointment. Firstly, to be ensured or entrusted with this strategic role as the Nigerian Army spokesperson, being the first female in the history of the Nigerian Army, and indeed the armed forces of Nigeria. Therefore, I owe this opportunity to the visionary leadership of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oloyede, Nigerian Army Medal.
She pledges to put in her best in the discharge of her responsibilities.
So I thank you most sincerely for finding me worthy of this appointment. I assure you and the entire leadership of the Nigerian Army that I will justify this confidence by remaining absolutely loyal, committed, focused, and result-driven. As I begin this journey, I pledge to lead the Directorate with transparency, professionalism, respect, and proactiveness. We will continue to tell the Nigerian Army story, not just through words, but through actions that reflect honor, sacrifice, responsibility, and service to the nation.
The high points of the event were the signing of handing and taking over notes, the presentation of the command flag, and the decoration of the acting director with the insignia of the Directorate of Army Public Relations. Elizabeth Thanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Congratulations to the brand new Director of Army Public Relations. This is a lady that has put in so much in terms of academy and operational practice in public relations and even the military prowess. Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Anele. Yes, let's go straight to the Nigerian Customs Service headquarters, where the Controller General gave account of the achievement of the service in the first quarter of the year 2025. Security Watch Africa, Lucy Tawo brings us the report.
The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, has achieved record-breaking milestone in revenue generation, trade facilitation, and enforcement activities for the first quarter of the year 2025. Speaking during a press briefing at the service corporate headquarters in Maitama, Abuja, the Comptroller General of Customs, CG Bashiri Adewale Adeniyi, outlined the service achievement in the first quarter.
The first quarter of the year has seen our officers working tirelessly at borders and ports across the nation. I'm therefore proud to report that we have indeed made progress on a number of fronts, from increasing revenue collections to interception of dangerous shipments. The numbers that we are going to be releasing today show concrete results from the reforms initiated under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and the supervision of the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Olawale Edun's leadership. During the first quarter, the service achieved several significant milestones in our modernizations and institutional development agenda. We continued the rollout of our indigenously developed customs clearance platform, Bodogu, expanding its operation to additional customs formations across the country. We officially launched the Authorized Economic Operators Program, AEO, a World Customs Organization endorsed initiative that recognizes businesses with strong compliance record and security standards. We witnessed the official launch of our comprehensive corporate social responsibility program, tagged Customs Cares, on 20th of March 2025 at Government Secondary School, Wuse Zone 3, Abuja. This program is directly supporting presidential priorities and UN Sustainable Development Goals. The program's 6 pillars of education, health, environment, food security, social investment, and support for creative economy were activated with 2,000 students receiving 10,000 notebooks, 2,000 school bags, and 4,000 pens, while the school benefited from CCTV security system and solar-powered lighting.
The Comptroller General revealed that the NCS exceeded its annual target in the first quarter.
Against our annual targets, which is 6.58 trillion, the first quarter's proportional benchmark stood at 1,645 billion naira. I'm therefore proud to announce that we have exceeded this quarter by 106.5 billion naira. This is achieving 106.47% of our quarterly projection. This outstanding performance represents a substantial 29.96 increase compared to the same period last year when we collected 1.347 trillion naira.
The Comptroller General reaffirmed the service's commitment to implementing trade facilitation measures that enhance Nigeria's competitiveness in the global market.
To all our stakeholders, the trading community, partner government agencies, and other international partners, we must appreciate their cooperation and constructive engagement in the course of the quarter. We remain committed to fostering relationship that we have with them as we work together to advance our trade interests and economic development.
He assured the public that Nigerian Customs Service remained dedicated to fulfilling its mandate of revenue generation, trade facilitation, and societal protection, enhancing that Nigeria's economy thrive amidst global challenges. Lucy Tau reporting for Security Watch Africa.
Yes, welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, this is your program, Security Watch Africa. And this episode will be continuing with our discussions, which we commenced last week, talking about security, fighting insecurity in Nigeria, what is wrong. Today, we have already waiting to join us via Zoom, Dennis Amakri. Dennis Amakri, a former director, Department of State Security, and a man who has been active since he left the service, even more active than he left the service. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you back today again. Thank you for making time out for us, sir.
Good afternoon, Patrick. Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. Yes, last week we talked about the challenges and things that breed insecurity in Nigeria and how ineptitude in terms of governance, lack of proper governance has also aided insecurity in Nigeria. Now, take us into what you think could be. I know that there are long-time solutions and short-time solutions to these problems. Can you just take us into some of these solutions, how we can overcome insecurity, at least as we are preparing for the 2027 general elections?
Okay, thank you so much. You see, this case of insecurity had been tackled seriously, especially, with all the military force and the intelligence community all contributing heavily to it. And in fact, there are many legal frameworks, and strategies that were put in place to address it. For instance, in 2011, I think we have the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011, excuse me, which was designed to prohibit, to prevent, and to combat terrorism in the country. Now, it also stipulated 20 years to death sentence for those who are found guilty of that. And of course, this particular act was amended again. I think, was it in 2012? It was amended and broadened. Remember when we had the situation with Tucano jets, and where they said that we cannot use the Tucano jets on military, on civilian population.
Yeah.
So that act was expanded in 2012, to also include military trials. And then, of course, all the authority was, domiciled in the office of the National Security Advisor. And, well, after 10 years, they have to review it again and then, of course, bring up the Counterterrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022, and then, of course, like I'm trying to mention this because you can see the effort that have been put into it. Then, of course, we have the National Counterterrorism Strategy, and that was brought up 2010, and then, of course, reviewed in 2014, and then, of course, 2016. So you find out that things are being done. These documents are perfect, very nice documents. But one problem we have is that they are not being followed, or we are not executing them to the letter. And there are many, many strategies, including the strategies we are having with the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism. And I remember when the National Counterterrorism Center was built, the representatives of the United Nations were there, to deal with it. So there has been no lack of legal framework in dealing with it. But what we lack is effective execution of this problem.
Okay, beautiful. In fact, you have just laid it bare because now, what is the problem with implementation? Because some people have said Nigerians don't lack ideas to solve our problems. It's the will to actually solve the problem that is lacking. Is it that the system, the government now, the people do not want to get this issue solved? Why are we not implementing what is there in the books?
A major issue there will be what we call political will. Because if the political will is there, then, Nigerian army is well trained, the military is well trained. We have a very, very top-notch intelligence community, and we should be able to take care of this situation. But like I said, the political will. We've even discovered when you have situation where people, even in government or even outsiders who are gaining from it, trying to make sure that the situation persists because they are making a lot of money. Patrick, if you remember, we've always talked about the criminal economy, the criminal economy that exists. Yeah. In this. So these are things that, keep it lagging behind. We have border security management to strengthen the borders, but remember, the border is so wide and they are porous. They are very, very porous. But we have the border security management strategy, and that is not, it cannot be fully effective or fully implemented.
Okay. Now you talked about border because a lot of things have been going across both our land border and our sea borders. Are we looking at possible means of adopting the United States policy of trying to fence our borders now? Do you think that could solve the problem?
Well, even the United States knows that cannot work. You cannot fence that kind of border, But you can control and effectively monitor the border with technology. And that is what is happening. And that's even what the situation is at, because when their president came, the present president was talking about fencing the border, building a wall. And those walls, of course, if you go to the Mexican border, you will see that they built some part of it, but that is not effective.
It's not effective, yeah.
It's not effective at all. And we have a very long border starting from Cameroon all the way down to Benin Republic. Yes, and it's so porous, so there is no way you can do that except by technology.
And again, our communal style of living, where you have some people, some Nigerians families are living in both countries and all that. Now
Oh,
let's
yeah.
come to, some people have talked about the issue of security being very capital intensive. And is it possible from your own calculation that maybe lack of funding could also be a problem, or is it lack of proper dispensing of this fund to the actual needs that is the problem?
It is lack of funding. Lack of funding. And if you look at it, if you remember the last meeting we had last Saturday,
Yeah.
you know, my colleague here, Dr. Kabira Adamu, was saying it, that the funding was very, very inadequate, you know, and I agree totally, because and I've spoken to people in the intelligence community, and it is very, very clear that the money that they need is not getting to them.
Yeah.
It's not getting to them, because sometimes you look at the budget, you say, oh, the largest amount of money, you know, is allocated to defense, you know, and the question is how much actually get to them.
It's true.
You know, how much get to the police?
Yeah.
How much gets to the DSS? For instance, you know, if the DSS say, okay, we want to buy a predator drone, you know, the most common one, the Reaper, you know, Reaper is $23 million for one, you know, and how much is the budget, you know, that is given in Naira, and then of course convert the Naira into dollars, and then see how much that is going to give you. So it is something that we have to be more serious about it, because we cannot say, oh, we've given them what to do, we've given them the money they need, but there are no results.
And I'm sure that the entire budget of the DSS cannot even buy two of those drones you just mentioned, because
I don't think so. I don't think so. And that's why we have to take it more seriously.
Exactly,
yes.
talk less of other. And without security, I'm sure other sectors cannot actually function. Or what do you think about that?
Well, security is the fulcrum of everything we do, you know. The Constitution has even said it. Constitution has spelled it out. Security of the people is number one for any government, you know. So why are we pushing security to the backbench? And then, of course, we are busy. We are busy doing other things. We are busy increasing our salaries. We are busy doing other things. And the security function itself is, you know, left behind. So I think this is an area that they have to look at seriously. I would even suggest that the president declare a state of emergency on insecurity.
I think it's the way things are done. I think that is the right thing to do, because instead of, you know, some government offices, they have what they call wardrobe allowance, entertainment, and all that, and yet what is essential is not being taken care of. Now
Yes,
let's come to the issue.
If the house is burning, yes.
Yeah. Now let's come to the issue of synergy with these security sectors. How best do you think it can work? Because sometimes there seems to be different interests, even though they are children of same parent, but yet different interests have created some crisis among them. So how best can this be taken care of? Because I'm sure it's one of the solutions.
Yes, of course. You know that in some years back, you know, let's put 5 years behind or 10 years ago, you know, the security agencies were actually operating on their own. They were operating in silos, whereby they are not coordinating properly, you know, and then, of course, giving a concerted effort to giving a proper result, you know, to the country and even to the president. Everybody wants to impress the president. It is me that is doing it, and it's not only to Nigeria, but even in the United States. Remember the 9/11 stuff? Yes, all the security agencies, the information about bombing the United States was the terrorist bombing was available. Many security agencies have it, but they don't know when and where. And they don't know that it is going to happen through, you know, somebody using an aircraft to run into the Twin Towers. But it happened because they were not sharing information. And I think right now, the security, the intelligence community and the military, I think there is a little signage going on from the Office of the National Security Advisor. And I think it should be strengthened. It should be strengthened whereby they should, you know, make that fusion center very, very active. The fusion center should be active, where sharing of information is very, very, you know, common. And then, of course, to get the objective of what they want to do.
Okay. But thank you so much for being part of the program today. We could continue on and on, but I believe that those concerned have listened to you, and let's see how they are going to implement it. But on the final word, what wish do you have for Nigeria?
Well, I think one important thing that Nigerians should do, they should get involved. They should get involved in this fight. But let's not leave it for the security agencies alone. You know, the communities should organize themselves. Just like the DSS have said, the communities should be the first line of defense. And I think they should arrange themselves, invite the police or the DSS to come, and then, of course, synergize with them in trying to deal with this problem.
All right,
because it is not one that should be left for the security agencies.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you, VI. If you are just watching, this is your program, Security Watch Africa. We've come to the end of another exciting edition. I'm sure you heard it all from Dennis Amakri. He said the solution to insecurity in Nigeria, and if we don't get security proper, then there won't be any meaningful development. Until next week when we come your way again, I said thanks for staying tuned, and bye for now.